Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome to our first Maker Monday of 2023. I want to start a series with you guys. I've always wanted to have this chat with you, but I've never really had a place to do it. What I mean by that is, I'm like you. When I see a tutorial video, I want it to be quick, concise, and to the point. Well, I try to do that with my tutorial videos. So a lot of the information I want to give you doesn't have a home. I want to chat with you and tell you things. So I've decided for the first part of 2023, I'm going to use my Monday night videos to answer some questions for you that I think are important. The first series we're going to do is going to be called Why and How to Start Paper Crafting in 2023. Are you a person that's looking for a new hobby? Or are you someone who's been doing paper crafting for years and just want to hear some new ideas or maybe a fresh perspective? That's what this series will be for you. In today's video, our first video, we're going to answer those two questions, the why, and I'm going to give you the how and how to get started, how to keep going. Okay. So this will be fun for me because this is one of those things I don't really have a place to tell you this, but I want to tell you how my paper crafting journey got started. Okay. So, as many of you will know if you've watched me for any length of time, I've been a crafter since I was a teenager. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure my very first full craft I ever did was a latch hook pillow or rug. I can't remember what we turned it into that my grandmother bought me a kit for. And that was when I was very young. But I remember vividly doing the latch hook and loving that process. Well, I've always needed crafting. It's my therapy. Vince will tell you, my husband will tell you, crafting is my therapy. It's not my hobby, okay? And now it's become my job, which is even better because it's just stress relief for me, right? But any time in my life when I have been going through something and I needed just some time to get out of my head, get out of my thought process, crafting was where I went. Well, as I got older in life, you go through these seasons of crafting, and I have done everything. I feel like I've done every craft out there except I didn't do a lot of mixed media because I don't really like the getting my hands dirty kind of thing. I like a very clean and neat and instant gratification kind of thing. But I've done a lot of crafting. Even recently, I've leaned back into one of my hobbies, which was sewing. I love sewing. I always loved it, but I kind of got out of it. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So, how paper crafting? Why did I lean into paper crafting and when? Well, I did all those crafts. I knew how to do all these different crafts. And then I had children. Vince and I got married. I have four boys. Life changed. There just wasn't time to go to work all day, come home and craft all night. That just didn't happen anymore. I have children, so we have homework, feedings, and bath times, and sports, and church events, and everything we had to do. And so crafting kind of got put on the back burner for me, but I still needed it. It was still my thing. So I started to think, what can I do with my kids at home? And when is the time I can craft? When can I carve this out? Well, I quickly realized that my kids were pretty much in bed by 9 o'clock at night. They had kind of a staggered schedule, but by 9 o'clock, they were all pretty much in bed. And I was like, anything I could do after they're in bed would be great. So I started watching YouTube. Much like you guys, YouTube has always been where I've learned everything and gone to find everything. So I started watching YouTube and I found stamping and card making, and I was intrigued. And I watched every single person out there. I've always known what stamping was, but the difference here was they were using clear stamps. I always used woodblock stamps and red rubber stamps, which are beautiful and still I love them. But when I saw these clear stamps, and I was just fascinated by how quickly a piece of art in a card could come together. Well, I was hooked. I'm like, this is something I can do at night. Now, why did I think that? Check this out. I thought to myself, I don't need to do something that requires sanding. I don't need to do something that requires sawing. I don't need to do anything that I have to go spray paint things and stuff like that. So for me, I wanted to do something in the house right there that could be there all the time. So paper crafting seemed like the perfect thing for me because I had a breakfast nook that we really didn't use. We have a breakfast nook in a dining room, and the breakfast nook was just a table that no one really ate at. And so I thought, I can turn this into a little crafting spot. I never thought craft room, never even thought of that. Just went, it's a crafting spot. So I went and got some supplies. We'll talk about that too when we get into the how, okay? But I got some supplies and I set myself up in this little room, and it was my favorite thing ever. I could sit down, do some crafting, finish a project in a night, which is what I really loved because I could finish a card And I'll tell you something about cards. Everybody needs a card at some point in their life. It's a craft that you will make and you will have and will always have someone to give it to. It's not like sometimes we make things and we're like, I love this and I had fun making it, but I don't know who would want it. A card is not that way. Everybody has a birthday. Everybody goes through something where they need encouragement. Everybody needs a sympathy card. Everybody needs a I love you card. You always have a reason for a card. So I always felt good about finishing a project, right? I could start a card and finish a card. It just became something I loved. Well, the more I watch paper crafting videos, the more I realize there's a lot of facets to paper crafting. This is not something I only have to make these cards with. I can lean into some 3D projects and even scrapbooking, which I don't do a lot of, but it's available. It's something I can do using the same supplies. And I loved that. I didn't have to add a whole other type of supply. I could do a lot of different crafts with paper. I know a lot of times we think paper crafting is so specific, and it kind of is, but really there's a lot you can do with it. You'll learn that as we go. So that is my why. It was therapy. It was something I could do in the space that I had. It made sense to me. It was something that intrigued me that I wanted to try. And so that's what I did. I found the spot and I made it happen. Now, what's my how? How's a little different because when you don't know what you're doing and you don't know where to start, you can mess yourself up. Here's what you can do. You can go out there and buy all the supplies without ever knowing if you really need them. Okay. What do I mean by that? You can head out to the store and there's aisles and aisles of paper supplies. You can get on my website, MaymayMadeIt.com, look through all of our categories and be overwhelmed by all of the supplies and think, I need all of this. Well, I'm going to clear that up for you in the upcoming videos. This series is where we're going to talk about what you should invest in and where you should spend your money to start. Okay. Why do I want to say this to you? I was talking to Shannon about this. I told you guys I picked up my love for sewing again, but this time, instead of sewing I already know, I wanted to get into quilting. Quilting is foreign to me. I've never quilted ever a day in my life before about 4 months ago. It was about 4 months ago when I started. And I met Penny, who owns our local quilt shop, and I wanted to do what she did. It just looked like fun. And I want you to think about something. For me, this is how our crafting evolves. Remember how I told you I needed to be therapy? Well, many of you guys know in August of 2021, I lost my mother. She was my best friend, and she filled a lot of my time. I spent a lot of time with mom. So she was my first therapy, right? Well, I have a lot of time on my hands. My kids have grown up. As of right now, all my kids have their big boy jobs. That's what we call them. And they're out of college and they're living their life and doing what they wanted to do. And Vince has his hobbies, and there's times I have that are time for me. So I thought, you know what? I do paper crafting all day at my job. So what if I did a different hobby at home? So I started looking into it. And you know what I did? I didn't follow what I knew. I went out and bought everything. Like if you come to my sewing room, you'd think I've been sewing for years because I just went, I got to have this and I got to have this and I got to have this. And I'm not sad about it because y'all know me. I love a good tool, right? I'm not sad about it. But it's not how I had to go. And it helped me to learn what I need to do for you guys to take you forward to start your paper crafting journey, or even to kind of just moderate your journey as it is now. Maybe you've noticed that you have too many supplies or things you bought you've never used. Let me help you with that. So, how are we going to do it? We're going to spend some time in the next few weeks. I'm going to take topics by topic because I feel like there's a lot to say in each topic. We're going to get hands on. I'm going to show you tools. We're going to talk about things that I bought I shouldn't have had, things that I wish I do have, things that I bought that I use every day. We're going to talk about all of that. And I just want to make sure when you start this journey, you're as prepared as you can be for it. I remember vividly when I decided to start paper crafting. I went to a local craft store and I thought, this is going to be easy. I'm going to go buy paper. And I walked in and I was overwhelmed by not tools and not glues and not inks and not stamps, paper alone. The paper overwhelmed me. I saw these beautiful papers and even cardstocks, but I didn't know what to use where or how or what. I just wanted to own these things. They were beautiful and I just wanted them. And I made lots of mistakes back then. I'm going to try to help you from doing that as well. Made lots of mistakes, bought lots of stuff that I to this day would never use, right? It was beautiful and I loved it. I didn't need it. So I want to try to head that off for you. That moment of I really want to do this, but I don't know where to start. That's what we're going to work on. I'm super excited to start this series with you. I hope you don't feel like I've left you on a cliffhanger. That's not the plan. I really do have to kind of dissect all of the topics so we can really talk about it. But I think it's going to be very beneficial and something you can go back and reference time and time again. So I will see you again next Monday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for our second in our series of why and how to start paper crafting in 2023. If you don't want to miss those videos, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell and tell it you want all notifications for my channel so you'll know when my next video comes up. Thanks so much for being here today, and until next time, bye now.